was donut walling me. I had somebody else come into my chat and he was like, damn, like 3,000 followers but no viewers. And I'm like, that's I mean,
Jesus
true.
Christ. All right, now I started recording.
I mean, that means I have to go find like a fun fact now. I didn't have a fun fact prepared.
You don't have to find a fun fact. I have a fun fact on the floor next to me.
Damn.
What's the fun fact on the floor next to you?
It's a 2x4. I'll explain. Trust me.
Okay, explain it now. Explain your fun fact about 2x4s.
Explain it now. So here's the deal. So I've been working out again, right? And with my PT for squats, I need to do them with like my heels raised up on an elevated surface. And so I was like to my dad, I was like, hey, do you have like a 2x4 lying around that I could borrow? And he's like, oh yeah, I do. And so I arrive at my dad's place because he has like gym equipment that I make use of. I arrive to this sanded, painted 2x4. My man got the freaking equipment out. He was so freaking excited. It still smells like paint. And It's like not even like, he's like sanded the corners. He's like, yeah, I made it. It doesn't even look any different from like a normal plank of wood. He like painted it wood color.
Totally.
He just like went
Did
so
you just put like
overkill.
finishing on it? You just put like the finishing on it?
No, he just painted it. Like that's all he did. It's like
damn.
Absolutely no one asked. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. My name is Nestani.
I am Jaxler, the proud owner of a painted, slightly sanded 2x4.
I'm DECosmic, and I'm pretty sure that's the most that Jaxler has ever used his wood.
Holy wow. That was out of left field.
Hey,
Holy
good
moly.
one.
Good
Holy moly. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we want to talk about Twitter. Oh my god, we want to talk about Twitter
no.
and the ban
Yeah.
system.
I honestly
oh my god,
expected this.
I mean, like, what else are we going to talk about? So,
I mean, we could talk about fitness because I'm.
so
I've been
what?
talking about my
What's
fitness
going
shit.
on, everyone, with the Twitter?
It's like, yeah,
So
no,
this
Here's
is
something in the background.
This is really. I've realized now, like, how recording podcast episodes a month out for like my own show just ages so badly. Because in the episode of Never the Same Concern that's coming out this week,
Hashtag ad, hashtag sponsored.
I talk about.
He paid
I
me
talk
to
about
say
not
this
leaving.
message.
I talk about not leaving Twitter to fucking
God.
I did a throwback to PMC on our SGDQ episode saying, when the fascist moves into your neighborhood, don't leave, just punch the fascist. And then this week, everybody just leaves the fucking neighborhood. So I'm like, well,
to be fair, they didn't leave because of a fascist. They left because they changed the way bands work.
Yeah, they changed the block stuff. Yeah, no, it's just
not,
like,
yeah, block. Sorry, not bands.
Yeah,
Sorry,
the block
Twitch culture in
pages,
my
and
head.
then also the thing I think with I think it's like Grok or other AI or whatever, where you're not gonna be able to. Fair enough. You're not gonna be able to opt out anymore of having like your images or your art like used for machine learning, essentially.
And AI trading.
I didn't know that.
AI
That's
trading.
crazy.
Yeah, so,
Yep, it's dog shit.
you can
That's
currently
why all the
opt
artists
out
are
of
moving.
it. Yeah, so now people just don't want to have their art used for that shit. So they're moving over to Bluesky. And honestly, like once the artists started making the move, pretty much everybody was gonna start making the move.
Yeah.
Because
That's the reason you're on Twitter is the art.
yeah,
you know?
that's one of the reasons. Yeah, like how much of your art of your timeline on a daily basis is art? Like it's a ton of it. So
Well, not much.
of course people are gonna move her. Well, you've also curated it down to like
I am
3 things. Or
Yeah, it's just like
on your-
Pokey, Cutie, Lily Pichu, Mango, like Moki.
Simply,
doesn't tweet, but
okay, that's
anyway,
fair.
Let's
technically, he could
back
be on your
up a
timeline
little
then.
bit. So they changed that, but the big thing that everyone got in a shitstorm about was the block feature, which
The block feature, yeah.
I don't think it's that big of a deal, but anyway, so what happened is that basically they changed the block feature, and they changed it fundamentally in the way that the way you interact with the people that you block doesn't change, but the way that people that you block can interact with you has changed, which basically is like the same thing that they've done on Twitch, where if you ban someone in your Twitch chat, if you have the setting turned on, they can still watch your stream, they just can't chat. Or you can turn it so that they can't see your stream, and they obviously can't see your chat if you ban them. But what Twitter did is it basically changed the ban so that the blocked user can still see your timeline. That's the change.
Yeah.
Which
honestly,
it's kind of like I go both
here's
ways
my
here.
thing with that.
Go ahead.
Here's my thing with that is like, I understand why people don't like that, but somebody can literally just create an alt Twitter account and see your timeline anyway.
Or they just go into like, you know,
incognito mode
or something like that.
Yeah.
You know,
So
it's not that hard.
I get it, but it's much easier to circumvent than people seem to think. Honestly, like, I just think that whole, I mean, the real problem, honestly, with Twitter is monetization of posts. That was the really bad part. Because, I mean, number one, like, getting paid for engagement and all that on that platform was just so terrible.
Yeah, it's now just engagement bait, right?
Yeah, it's everything is just engagement bait. Everything is just like, hey, tell me when your first brother's cousin's dog was born, and then I'll tell you a story about that date on that day or whatever. Like, or quote retweet with your favorite story of what you did with a dolphin for $1. Like, nobody fucking cares, bro. Shut up.
I don't want to hear those stories.
I don't want to hear them either, but that's the kind of shit we're dealing with, dude. It's just like, or quote retweet with the thing that made you the angriest, you know, in your entire life. Like, that's all it is. Or somebody being like, you know, oh, real men don't watch Dragon Ball, and then somebody quote retweets them and then it says the guy that fucked your girl watched the Cell games afterwards, or something like that, you know, which is like pretty funny, but it's just like that's the whole fucking
He
site.
saw that today, ladies and gentlemen. He saw that.
I saw that like I saw that like actually no, I saw that like a couple of months ago when Akira Toriyama died.
You still remember
and all
it?
of that stuff. Yes, I do.
That's crazy.
Akira Toriyama was a very
No, I
important
mean you
part
still
of
remember
my
the fucking
childhood.
tweet. You can remember niggas dying. But
Yeah,
like, you
because it
still
was
remember
funny
the
as
tweet?
shit, bro. Because it was funny as shit. All right? That's why I remembered it. It was funny as shit.
Wow. Well, you know, the most surprising thing about this, because let me tell you something. People on Twitter like to just like shout at a brick wall and then just stay there. Like, they don't do shit most of the time. So I'm actually kind of surprised they're like doing something
making
in
the
their
move,
lives for once. Like, usually, like, you know what I mean? Like, usually they just bitch and complain, and then they're like, well, all right, what can I bitch and complain about now? And now they're moving. Now they're going to do it on Mr. Blue Sky or whatever it's called.
Mr. Blue Sky.
Mr. Blue Sky.
I would say that they're kind of moving. I think specific communities are moving more than everyone.
I would say so.
But I feel like this is like the first like the first like
wave.
crack like in Twitter's armor.
Yeah.
You know, like this is the first major crack. Like so far there's been like, you know, scratches on their little like paint or whatever, and be like, oh, I'm gonna move to Blue Sky. It's an invite only social media platform. It's so fucking pointless, but I'm gonna move over there even though it's invite only. Anyway, so that was dumb as bricks. Anyway, but they've opened it up to the public. I think a couple months ago. It's relatively recent, but it's been up there for a while. Maybe a wholly, I don't know. I don't feel like fact checking. Someone else can fact check if you really want.
It's not been a very long time. It's not relevant anyway. The point is it was invite only for a long time.
Yeah, but now that it's like actually open, it can be tested as a social media platform, and basically like. This is like the first wave where I've actually taken it seriously, because there's been other changes that go on Twitter where people are like, I'm going to go to Blue Sky. And I'm like, yeah, nigga, I'll see you back here in one day.
Couple weeks.
I'll see you back here in 12 hours.
One day. Like, 12 hours.
You will
12
be
hours is more realistic.
back on this website, and then you're going to be like running it back. And like, I didn't care. But this time, because here's the thing. Well, we'll do it like this. So Small Ant moved like exclusively. He said, I'm not going to use my Twitter account. I'm turning it private. I'm exclusively using Blue Sky. I think he said for at least a month, if not indefinitely. I don't remember the wording. But he's actually giving it like a full send, right? And that leads me into my point where like a lot of the way people use social media, especially in the gaming space, is that they follow their like content creators. That's literally the only reason I'm on Twitter, is to follow content creators. Same. And if my content creators were all on Blue Sky, I would go to Blue Sky, which, since Small Ant moved to Blue Sky, guess who created an account as soon as he saw that tweet? Me, because I like Small Ant. Like I literally watch every single one of that dude's videos. I'm like, all right, I'm on. And then there's some other heavy hitters. 39 Daff also moved as well, like shortly after. But Small Ant, I bring him up just because his like hit, like he had like I think 20K or 30K likes or some shit. And I think that's due to him being speedrun adjacent, kind of in the speedrun community, creating content. Because what I really think happened with this is that the artist moved over, and I think the speedrun community has moved over, and I think they might fully move over. I think the thing that will move them over completely is if bitch ass GDQ moves over. That's the big one that we're waiting for here, because I do not think they have a Bluesky account, do they?
I think, well, there is a Bluesky account. It's just not been used. It's not been
I don't know if they're like
they
really,
reserved the name for sure.
Yeah, they've reserved the name, but they haven't really started kicking it up and been like, hey guys, we're going to Bluesky, which I think like if they do that, I think that the speedrun community is pretty much solidly going to shift over, because there's so many speedrunners already on there, and it's like really been the mass migration from what I've seen of like artists and speedrunners, which is two very decently sized communities, right? So that's why it's like really the first chink.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the last couple like 48 hours or whatever, like after the whole thing started happening, like my follow list on Bluesky just exploded because Shredberg put me on a starter pack list
and everyone
of speedrunners to follow, and it was just like.
Yeah, no, I'm also famous now for no reason.
Oh my god,
damn,
dude!
I gotta fucking tap in then. Holy shit!
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you on?
Yeah, I'm
Bluesky
surprised you're not on
Jax?
Bluesky. I feel like you've been one of the people that have been like, "Oh my god, I'm moving to Bluesky a year ago when it's invite only." No offense to you, but full offense.
Okay, thanks. But
Took that personally.
Ouch. Yeah, no, I was surprised I didn't see you on there at all. There is a person named Jaxler on Bluesky.
Are you fucking serious?
Nope, not a, or yeah, I'm not kidding. I thought you were about to say, are you joking? So I had already locked into the nope. So then the sentence fucking curved, dude.
Wow,
so
God damn it.
Identity theft?
Yeah, someone took Scar's name as well. But the good thing about Bluesky is that if someone takes your name, you can just buy a domain. And then you can just have your name.
Yeah, that's so wild.
Yeah, which is really cool. So if you don't know what that means, the TLDR is that I'm going to use Small Ant again as an example. Man, this guy's fucking obsessed with Small Ant. What the fuck? If you go to Small Ant's Bluesky is smallant.live. And so he has that domain. And you can, obviously, since it's a domain, it's a website. If you go to it, it just redirects to his Twitch channel. And so if you just type smallant.live, you'll go straight to this Twitch channel, which means that you can go from Bluesky to his Twitch channel just like that, and it's like pretty cool. And so he can just have the name Small Ant, which someone probably already had the name Small Ant, so he's just like, all right, cool, I'll just buy a domain for $20 a year, because that's like literally how cheap it is, which is like cheaper than Twitter Blue for a month. So
imagine that.
But yeah, that's really it. And then like Lily Pichu moved over, which was a big one. 39 Daff, Scara has an account now, and so it's just like it's really just like if the streamers start like actually moving over, that's like where you'll actually get a big bump, because like right now we have like Small Ant and Point Crow kind of being like the two biggest creators right now that are over there actively using it. But like it's still a good step in the direction to get some of the big boys to like get accounts at least, right?
Yeah, to get them to take it kind of seriously.
Twitter is just so fucking dog shit, you know? It's just like
it's just pretty negative anymore.
Yeah, people have been saying that for a long time.
And then they're still on it for some reason.
Yeah, because it's like it's
this is garbage. Let me just sit in this garbage and stay there. Like what? What are you people? Come on, man. What are you doing?
It's the inertia of change, right? It's like it's a lot to ask of people to like stop doing the thing that they were doing already. You know, it's like it sucks. That's human nature, right?
Not to mention that website is a way that a lot of people get news anymore.
Yeah.
So
that's
true.
The big pillars
like just
are news and sports. Those are the biggest pillars of Twitter as a like whole, obviously outside of us.
Because it's like you can say like, oh, you could go and watch like the news channel or read an article there, but like you can either take the news' word for it, or you can see somebody just upload a clip.
Yeah.
You know, just right there in the action on Twitter. Right?
I think the other thing too that people don't want to admit, there's a lot of porn on Twitter.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, yeah. That's
if you look at it, like if you look at like changes in technology over time, so much of it is. Oh, well, thank you for sharing.
Damn.
But if you're
It's good. What do you want?
if you really think about it, though, like advances in technology have been kind of like one of my teachers told me this once. It's like if you look at every major like digital technological advance, it's kind of been like spearheaded by the porn and adult entertainment. Like you think of like
Reddit,
like screens,
Tumblr,
like TV. You know,
oh,
even,
you're going for
like
the
VR. Yeah, I'm going way back.
Yeah, VR, Reddit, Tumblr.
VR, like for sure. Like you know, it's like it all just kind of goes back to porn
And Jax loves
generative AI and deep faking. Like that's a classic example.
True.
Kind of a bummer, but it's the truth.
That's what that is.
It's the truth though. It's
very,
fucking.
I mean, because the thing is like that deep fake stuff is an evolved version of like photoshopping some chick's head onto a naked body, you know, that people would use for terrible purposes, you know, on the internet back before it was like 5 sites with screenshots of each other. And like, you know, but it's just an evolved, more potent version of that. And it's
disgusting.
Pretty disgusting.
As I would like to say.
Yeah. I was trying to find a stronger word. I was going to say I was trying to find a stronger word
for them.
But
it's
fucking gross. Yeah,
I'll hold back. I won't get us completely, absolutely owned.
Yeah.
You won't
get the demonetized channel demonetized.
Yeah, exactly.
Twice.
Yeah.
We'll be double demonetized.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were we gonna say?
They'll need us to have 2,000 subscribers for monetization now.
I guess since we're demonetized, that kind of opens us up to do.
Yeah, get fucked, Cole. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. My bad. Sorry. I didn't. That.
Well, I can't. I can't find
in my defense, the sound didn't come through for me, so that's my bad.
But no, you're good.
I'm
just making a joke.
My school had has a film festival, like every winter, and last year they had this documentary about a bunch of like people where they had photos of themselves on social media and people used those photos to train AI and then make AI porn videos with their photos without their consent.
Yeah.
And it was wild. It was deeply, deeply concerning. So, but I can't think of I had this little pamphlet.
I know exactly like what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's messed up.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to mention that, like,
yeah,
you could probably just look up the documentary.
Probably, yeah.
I don't know.
Point being is that the Great Migration is kind of happening right now. We'll see if it lasts. I've actually been posting on Bluesky because I don't post, but because I kind of want it to like work out because I do like the protocol that it's built on. Which we don't have to talk about the stuff. Do we want to talk about the nerdy stuff? Because I do have some information about the nerdy stuff.
Shit you were telling me about.
It was, yeah.
The only thing that I know about the back end of Bluesky is that Jack Dorsey is no longer involved with that company because
that's a huge dub.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
They actually I forget who their CEO is, but it's a woman-led company now, so that's cool.
Damn.
Apparently, he stormed out because they were calling him Jack Dorky. That is the official like.
That's
crazy. That was the official. That was what like a post from somebody at the company said. They were calling him Jack Dorky and other stuff, and he just like left.
Well, I feel a lot better about using Bluesky now because that was like my
Jay
one.
Grabber now for this.
Yeah,
and she's I don't know. It's just cool to have a woman-led company.
Yeah,
but if we want to go
obvious
over
red flags, which is.
Yeah, the brief TLDR is that it's built on the AT protocol, which if you don't know what a protocol is, think of it kind of just like open source code. So anyone can build off of basically the language, right? And then you can connect different services through something called the Fediverse, which is basically, think of that as just like a little fucking branching like network, right? And so what that is actually actualized in today is that Mastodon and Threads are built on the ActivityPub protocol, which is just a different protocol. It doesn't matter, right? But they're on the Fediverse. And also, by the way, ActivityPub and the AT protocol, they can both be on the same like Fediverse, so they can still all talk to each other, which I just found out recently. But point being is that like if you're on Threads and you have like a like you can see basically if you're on Threads, you can see someone's on Mastodon's post and you can interact with them from your Threads account. So imagine like if you're on Twitter and you could just see an Instagram post and like the Instagram post and see all the Instagram post comments, but you're on the Twitter like feed, right? So you can basically interact with other social media from just one. And so you can have a very big, broad network through just one single app, which is cool because you can kind of connect and you can kind of just choose which skin you want to see. Like you can basically choose the appearance of it, which is like the whole draw of Bluesky and Threads and Mastodon. That's kind of their big push, is that like you can interact with more than just the one service platform, right? And the big thing about Bluesky, and this is the last nerdy thing, I promise, the big Bluesky is that because it's built on the AT protocol, that protocol specifically lets users have a lot more control into what they see, and basically you can have complete control over your experience. So like, for example, on Bluesky, you can have different tabs. So you can have the Discover tab, feeds, the Following tab. You can have, like I have an NBA tab and I have a WNBA tab, just for example. So I can see only NBA posts in this tab. And so it's really a cool social media for power users specifically, I would say, which I feel like a lot of people are kind of power users of social media, which is why I think it can actually get off the ground, because a lot of people do curate their timelines. Like
because they've had to, because Twitter's become such shit.
Right, exactly. And so a lot of people are already used to that, and because it's been around for so long, so many people, it is kind of a power user thing, and that's why I kind of see like Bluesky kind of taking over, which is why I was more excited for Bluesky than Threads, because also just in general, Bluesky beats the fucking brakes off of Threads. I don't know if any of you have tried to use Threads, but that shit's dog shit.
It looked like dog shit. Yeah, exactly.
It's not even looks like dog shit. Using the app is a bad experience because there is no following tab. There is no control over your timeline at all. You just see what you see, right? Ew. Which is like the problem that I have with the ActivityPub protocol, is that you don't have that much control over it. And obviously the AT protocol is the complete opposite. You have
complete opposite,
all control if you want. Obviously they have a Discover tab, so if you don't want that,
they have
you don't have to create more tabs, right? Because it defaults Discover, Following. That's it, just like Twitter. But you can create more, which I find cool, and I think other people find cool. But like Threads as an app is just bad because you can't do that. But with Bluesky, you can actually choose what you want, right? And also just in general, the app is good. Because the Threads app was not that good, and there's because they've been building it for so long, because they were fucking invite only idiots, but because they did that, technically we have the fruits of their labor now, which is an extremely here's the thing about social media, and then I'll let you go, Cosmic, but the thing about social media is that it needs to be quick, responsive, immediate. That's the whole point, right? And the thing about Threads is that you'll have some loading screens, you'll have scrolling hitches, you'll have like the like button like doesn't like hit like that, and all those little things really add up. And that's the biggest thing about Bluesky, which is why I think it's actually going to go somewhere, is because I was using the app and I was like, this feels like a really fully fleshed out app, like Twitter is. Like you go on Twitter, you scroll that timeline, you can go really quickly, you like repost, it's all so snappy. And on Bluesky it's the same thing. Everything is so snappy, it's so responsive, and that's like the biggest differentiator between why people are actually moving the Bluesky, and which is why everyone created a Threads account, because you could, because of Instagram, but no one fucking used that shit because it didn't meet the other requirements.
Yeah. I was gonna say that in the era that we've been in, where it's pretty much known, like once the idea of the algorithm became like part of the public consciousness, right? A lot of social media has just sort of unabashedly been about like, we're going to try and rip your attention in different directions. And Bluesky sort of turns this meta on its head and goes, we're going to recommend you stuff, right? But which direction your attention gets pulled in, that's on you. And instead of like instead of like you needing to filter it down, they're going to provide you essentially different funnels with which they're going to keep you on the app, you know, or whatever they need to do. It's still, you know, attention is the real currency here, but you decide how you get to spend it rather than them just flashing stuff at you all the time. So
literally flashing stuff at you.
Yeah, that's true.
Titties just randomly on your timeline.
I was going to say, back to the porn industry. But
it always comes back to porn.
True. I mean, it's an interesting idea, honestly. I think that was one of the things that I noticed the most when I first got an invite code. I was like, oh, I could really just like have an entire, like let's say like for me, like Devil May Cry, right? Like I don't have anything other than Discover
too bad
and
no one's
following.
on the app at the time, but you technically could do that.
True, I could have, yeah. There would have been one post, which would have been me, but you know,
it was me.
It was just, it would have still existed, but
hey,
you know,
you're not wrong.
It's true.
I mean,
it's pretty.
You need people to start the thing.
It is
right?
cool, yeah. Yeah, and I mean the other thing too is that it even lets you select which languages you can see posts in as well.
Okay.
In order to, it defaults to just English only.
You have to select it. So if you want,
you
to
have
see
to
other,
opt out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So like,
but if you remove all filters, it'll just.
That is kind of unfortunate because sometimes like, especially like Brazilian Twitter is just so funny. Yeah. So it's like I guess that's kind of annoying, but like
yeah. So
well,
like
here's
like especially
what
like
I'll
for artists, like that's like a big thing is that there's a lot of like Korean artists or Japanese artists or whatever that people follow, and they were like, I wonder why I'm not there. I literally saw a post of like, why don't I see them? And then they were like, hey, this is why you don't see them because you literally have to choose the language, which is
what you have
annoying.
to do. If you want to see everybody's posts, like all languages, you just delete the English language filter and just put like none as like a preference or
that's
whatever.
Not too bad, then.
Yeah, so you just delete that filter and then you just see everything.
Yeah.
The other thing too is that again, unironically back to the porn industry, it will actually let you decide on what kind of sexual content you see.
That's the biggest thing for me, honestly.
And whether or not it will actually like put like a spoiler filter there, or it will just straight up block it.
Yeah, it's like Reddit.
Yeah, exactly. So like, what is that noise?
Dude, that is my Twitch.
Oh my gosh!
Alert! Somebody follows. I don't even know why that plays one for everybody in the call, and then right now. I mean, I don't even think anybody's gonna hear
because
this.
Because it's a window. Because it's an OBS source.
To be fair,
dude.
I didn't even hear it. So
okay, well,
I heard it.
Whatever.
I got fucking jump scared by it. I
was like, what?
Really apologize. I don't know how to turn that off, but I could just shut up the phone.
Just click the eye, dude. Just click the eye.
Just click the eye, yeah.
Yeah, just
but
click
that's the thing.
eye.
In my scene, it's not even in the scene.
Oh, because you don't have it deload when it's not showing or when it's not active.
Really?
So that's
All right,
why.
yeah.
Get on.
Yeah, that's
But
fine.
either way.
Wow, that was a really candid and organic moment on the podcast, everybody.
There is a filter, though. We're not going to.
I'm fine with it.
There will be a filter, though. And so like that's like the biggest thing, so that you can actually use the Discover tab, because for me on Twitter I never use the Discover tab ever.
Nope.
Or the For You tab, or
I
whatever
still
the fuck
don't.
it's called.
Never.
It's only the following tab, and I've curated so there's no repost, there's no nothing. It's just the following tab, just the people I follow.
Buddy.
Yeah.
A lot of them are muted.
I'm not muted. I know because he always goes to reply to my posts with some shit.
That's true.
So,
I'm really just a reply bot on Twitter. I don't post anything, but
true.
I do just like fuck with pretty much Jaxler Cosmic exclusively.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, well,
now that you're on Bluesky, you've been replying to Shredberg a lot because Shredberg posts about
he posts more
NBA.
about on the NBA than like I would respond to him on Twitter, but he doesn't really post that much NBA stuff on Twitter. But on Bluesky, on Shredsky,
on Shredsky, Blue Shred.
So I'm yapping. I'm like, ooh, that's the one to yap about the NBA too.
I was like, oh, I saw like one reply that you made, and I was like, This is the longest reply I've ever seen Nestani make on social media. I was like, this dude is in his zone, dude. He's
tapped in.
He's got this on lock.
Hey man, I like responding to real people talking about the NBA with not brain dead takes because he has good takes, so it's fun to talk to him. It's, you know what I mean?
I gotta say,
he's a cool dude.
The only times that I ever knew that like a Melee tournament was going on is when you were tweeting. Because it must be like,
Schwabbing
he's schwabbing off.
That is what I do. I literally I will live tweet during Melee tournaments for no reason. No one reads them. No one likes me doing that.
Oh, and but not even just live tweet, live DMs. If you've never been on the receiving end of a Melee Major live DM from Nestani, like you're missing out. Honestly.
It's a giant. If you go to your Discord DMs and you scroll 3 times, that's how many times I have messaged Jaxler.
Dude, sometimes that's how I figure out there's even a Melee. He never
responds to me, but I still yap at him.
Well, because sometimes I'm just taking a shit and I'm just oh, I didn't realize there was a Melee Major going on this weekend until I get dono-walled by Nestani and DM.
Hold on, you're dono-walling me. I'm the one.
Oh, right. Sorry, I get it mixed up sometimes.
Guys, I just like Melee, and so I will live tweet about Melee. Dude. I don't live tweet about the NBA though. You're welcome, everyone.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Dude,
honestly, big fan of range.
Unless anyone else had anything to say. Speaking of fucking dono wall, I fucking remembered why I don't stream shit other than games no one's ever heard of before. Because I just recently picked up a new speed game.
He picked up a 70-star Mario 64.
No,
and
I did not.
Playing that.
No.
Honestly, dude, I think
he started doing 16-star. He wanted to do the BLJs. True. Yeah.
I was gonna say his BLJs could use some work, but he's making some progress. Yeah. I think you're gonna become a really good.
It all comes down to the BLJs, you know.
It all comes down to the BJ, yeah.
The blow lettuce job, yeah, sure.
Burger King foot lettuce job number 13.
Oh man,
we're going.
I think you're gonna be an exceptional Mario runner, Jaxler. Yeah, I can't wait to see you on stage representing representing the Mario
community, telling people to kill themselves. Yeah, exactly.
Jesus Christ!
Audio listeners, Cosmic
so
Space
anyway,
was hilarious.
I didn't say that. I'm not here. That Jack said that by himself. All right, I'm not here.
No, it's just. But that's. I'm just quoting the grades. Okay. I love how you can just not have a personality and just fucking do great because you play Mario fast. It's so funny.
Hey, to be fair, Simply's funny as hell.
Yeah, but
I love.
You know what Liam fucking reminds me of? A fucking 2x4. A fucking blank 2x4.
Wow. Wait, did you say Liam?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I'll give you that. He's an acquired taste. I don't really watch him. So
what I love about Jaxler is just how racist much your personality 180s when Mario is mentioned, because normally when you're talking about speedrunning, you have such this incredible positive aura around you where you're building up other people around you, and then somebody mentions a Mario runner and you're like, I could replace this person with a fucking vacuum cleaner and not notice the difference on their screen. That is literally what it's like, dude. You're just
he really doesn't like them, guys. This is why I can't play Mario 64 because he'll quit the podcast if I pick it up. So you know.
I won't quit the podcast. True. I'll just give you I'll just make fun of you.
He'll just kill me with a gun.
It's the same way
every episode. Yeah,
it's in the same way I make fun of my friends for being horny. You know, it's just I'm just
except he'll be more serious about it with me.
Ouch.
So what were you playing now that we're done with the Mario?
I was playing. I was
gonna say, now that we derailed it all, go
now
for
that
it.
we've completely fucking beefed it. I was playing Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver, which, again, as far as the grand scheme of things, I did the fucking.
He did it again.
It's also not to be confused with Soul Reaver, the item from Smite. That was a big
you made that mistake.
If you remember, podcast listeners, the Smite episode from before.
It wasn't my fault. It was Cosmic's fault.
Yes. So this is so go back and watch that episode.
I don't think I mentioned Soul Reaver, but we'll talk about Soul Reaver the game here.
Okay, yeah.
Sword
fair
of
enough.
Anonymous did, though.
So I picked
quick
up
thing,
the run.
though.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
think this is. I honestly think that this might be the most popular game you play. Is it not?
That's not true. I've played Battle
Actually, no.
for Bikini
Wait,
Bottom
you did play Battle for Bikini Bottom.
Dude, he's
Yeah,
playing
never
Scooby-Doo
mind.
Night of
Okay,
Frights. What are you talking about?
and
Yeah, it's
SpongeBob
like
movie.
that is the melee of speedrunning.
I'm pretty sure Soul Reaver is more popular than movie 100 Frights. Or
You're wrong.
Maybe not Battle.
You're
Maybe not Battle.
wrong.
But
To
I don't
be
know.
fair,
not Battle. I don't think Battle.
I
don't
haven't
think
heard of
Battle,
any
no.
of 3 of these games ever before I started speedrunning and talking to Jax. So,
But you've heard of like 2 games, like
But you
in your
have heard
entire
of-
life.
I've heard of a lot of games. None of those, though.
Yeah, fair enough. But anywho,
They're not that
so
popular.
Legacy
I don't
came.
know.
So speaking of Legacy of Kain Soul River, awesome run. I've been having a lot of fun running it. Cosmic looks like he wants to just walk in front of a school bus, which I understand.
Sometimes I'm reminded that people were born like much later, and they just don't know what Legacy of Kain is. Continue.
Yeah, but anywho, can you stop this bit so I can continue my conversation? I hate this guy. Anyway, so I streamed the game for like the first or second time last night, and you know, there are some games that have that like cult classic following where you get those people where it's like they make their entire personality is that game that they've hyperfixated on.
Yeah.
The SpongeBob community is notorious for this because you get a combination of people who
was the Scooby
hyper obsess over
community.
the
Yeah,
so is the
Scooby
Scooby community.
like,
but then you also get people who are just like they don't know how to social like they like in SpongeBob specifically you get people whose entire personality is SpongeBob, like just the franchise, which is just a fate worse than death. But then like on top of that, like
sucks.
fair enough. Do what you talk your shit. But where I was going with this is I had a bunch of first time chatters last night who just had zero social skills and were just like really well like there is one guy who was I think his tag was literally I'm gonna name drop.
That's crazy.
It was probably like Soul Reaver Azrael 420.
No.
Oh my god.
His tag was literally like annoying Fred. That was his tag. I'm not even kidding.
Well, he lived up to the name.
And so you're telling me, I was
Yeah,
gonna
he
say,
lived up to the
yeah.
name.
He wasn't
And
lying.
he was
True,
like,
lie.
he was dono walling me. I had somebody else come into my chat and he was like, damn, like 3,000 followers, but no viewers. And I'm like, that's, I mean,
Jesus
true.
Christ.
But I'm like, I don't give a shit about that. And then second of all, that's like really
It's really mean.
rude. It's
Hey,
really
just
rude.
Hey man, you boot up Pumpkin Jack, he's gonna have 20 on the head.
Yeah, but it's also just like, it's like, hi, nice to meet you. You know, it's like you could have introduced yourself or something like that. But no, you're just going to be like weird about it. And it's like, basically, I feel like a lot of people with this is, no, I can't do the hand wave because my auto tracker is going to go off. I'm literally not allowed to participate in this bit. This sucks.
This is
But-
very Truman Show right now.
Yeah, this is fucking dog shit. But it's just like people. It's not people who are like, oh, I'm excited. Oh, somebody else knows this game. I'm excited to talk with you about it. It's like they're talking through you.
Yes.
It's like they're not talking with you. They're just talking because they found a space where they won't get immediately shut up. And it was just like the best way I found to deal with that is just to ignore them, and eventually they get bored and just leave. Cause like, additionally, you can like if you're smart about it, you can also farm them for content.
That's what Cole does.
Which is also that's what Cole does. Yeah.
I'm too tired for that, honestly. I'm too
By
old
the
and
way, that
tired.
wasn't a reference to Cole's YouTube channel. That's literally like his Twitch channel. Like anytime that guy streams frights, everyone comes into his chat from the community.
Hey.
Is that true?
Yes.
I guess.
Bro, if I stream frights and Cole stream frights at the same time, I will have 2 viewers. Cole will have like 10.
Hey.
That's that YouTube
I'll have
content.
like 7 though.
That's the YouTube content creator buff for real. For
Yeah,
real.
So then
No, it's 'cause the
thank
Frights
God
community
that
hates me,
Sin
but-
and I thank God that Sin Dark Fates and I came into your chat yesterday and saved you from those people then.
Yeah, with the worst copy pasta I have ever seen in my goddamn life. Where you were like copy pastaing about like a Jorking It review or something like that. Where I was just like, what?
Dude, that was fresh from the oven, dude. That copy pasta was
That shit was
like,
burnt. That shit was crusty.
no, dude. Oh my God. Sin and I. Okay, so For anybody who doesn't know, Sin speedruns a lot of games, but we did Unmasked last week in a GDQ hotfix, and we were in a DM call. We were just trying to find some glitches in Scooby Unmasked, and
Nice.
I was streaming it, and my buddy, my friend, came into the call or into the stream, and he typed out this copy pasta, and he says, "Here's my feedback on your recent video. 9 out of 10 beating session, lasted a good while. Strokes 1 through 8, medium speed, felt excellent. Strokes 9 through 14, up to high speed. I had to speed up a little bit because it was getting a bit boring. Stroke 15 through 22, ultra speed, had me on the edge. Stroke 23, finished, clean up on aisle my pants." And Sid and I were like, "Oh my gosh, dude, Jax is streaming. What if we just go into his fucking chat and just
you see this copy pasta, and we were like, wait a minute. Let's go into the chat of the most asexual person I know.
Yeah,
and just like
you're the target.
You're
Oh, dude.
That just feels like a hate crime at this point. That's just fucked up. Like, really? Come on.
Oh no,
dude.
hate crimes are kind of cool if you think about it.
All right, well,
I'll take your word for it. How about that?
let's move on. That really
So Jax,
Eater.
honestly, Jax, I know exactly what you're talking about too, because Devil May Cry as a series is home to some of the most unfunny people on the internet. So
Oh
like,
my god, that's such
Yeah.
a good way of putting it. It's
yeah,
just like,
it's very strange too, like how they'll try and like relate to somebody in the weirdest fucking way. So I remember I was streaming my PS2 runs of Devil May Cry, and like during the third game, somebody came in and was like, "Hey, how are you?" And I was like, "Hey, welcome to stream," you know? And then the next thing that they post is like the entire chorus of the theme song for the game. And I just looked at their you can see this too in the YouTube video. And hashtag ad. And I say to them, yeah,
This guy's buying a
those
lot of ads on our podcast. That's
it's
crazy.
true, yeah. I say to them like, yeah, those certainly are lyrics to the song. Like like what else am I supposed to say to you, dude? Like there's nothing for me to latch onto as a person to be like, you know, like, oh hey, glad to see you here. Like what am I gonna say? Like, nice lyrics, you didn't write them. Like I'm not gonna I have nothing else to say to you if that's
nothing
it.
else to say.
There were people that like when this, so there was a meme of Virgil like having a plastic chair, and in Devil May Cry 5, when you fight him as a boss, he like turns around in the cutscene to face you or whatever, but he like gets up off of his chair to do it.
Oh, so he's got a cuck chair.
No, he's just sitting there, like he's not facing anybody. Like he's not, yeah, he's facing out somewhere, but it's like a throne of his own making. But the meme was that he had a plastic chair, so it's like. It starts as an audio post of like plastic chair scraping along the ground. And then it turns into this whole thing where every time somebody would see a plastic chair in a Capcom game, they'd be like, I see what you did there, Capcom. And it's like, no, you're fucking stupid and you're terminally online. This is not a reference to this random community meme.
Wait,
So,
didn't you talk about that on the
I thought you were
NTSC
gonna-
podcast?
yeah.
I don't remember if I did or not. I don't think I did. I try not to talk about this meme as much as I can.
Oh, okay.
And
I
so
thought you referenced it. I don't know. I
don't think
just,
so.
I scrubbed your podcast. I don't know.
So I say to them, like there were people that would come into my stream, especially when I was running a lot of Virgil, and they would like start DMing me on Discord after joining my Discord with like plastic chair memes or something, and being like, I love the plastic chair
Dude,
meme.
I hate that when you're like
And
a
I would
small
be like-
streamer and people like try to get in
like-
your DMs and be like, hey, I want to be your friend. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know you.
Yeah,
It's
and I
just
just
like, and it's like,
It's like, what, dude? Like, I mean, there are some people that like will DM me and legitimately be like nice, interesting people, or just like a viewer that's just like, yeah, like Nestani, exactly. I remember too, there was somebody that when I took a hiatus for like 3 months, they were like, hey, I've never DM'd you before, but I really want to let you know, like, your streams have meant a lot to me over the years. I hope you come back eventually, etc. And I was like,
And then he threw up the
Alright,
stream
like-
that night.
turn off.
yeah. But no, it was like a legitimately like nice message from somebody that technically didn't know me. You know, they just kind of knew me through the screen, but they were legitimately just like, hey, you know, like, I do hope you come back really enjoyed your streams. You know, appreciate you, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, all right, cool. There's actually something for me here to talk about or say thank you for.
And he now
but if you're just going to
day.
like, if you're going to just post like lyrics at me, or you're going to post memes, or you're going to post quotes from whatever game I'm playing in my chat, I have nothing to say to like a quote bot, dude.
Yeah.
Like all I have to say to a quote bot is, hey, what's the next quote? Like, that's it, dude. Like, post your next thing. Yeah,
next
just
message, please.
Yeah. Or as Ariana
Insert
Grande would
cash or
say,
select payment type.
thank you, next.
That's a good
you know?
album.
Yeah.
But yeah,
True.
you know, it's really funny for me specifically when this happens to me, because it happens to me a lot in Frights where like someone
Oh, that'll do it.
fucking loves the Frights game and they come into my chat and they're like, blah, 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 blah. Oh my god, this is so cool. Oh my god, do you like this part of the game? Oh my god, what about this thing? And then I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
That's crazy.
I don't
You're like,
know
I've never
anything
played
they're
this
talking
game.
about.
That's
They're referencing all
actually
this shit
wild.
from the game. I don't know anything about Frights.
What the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah, pretty
You
much.
haven't played it casually, right?
No,
yeah,
I've never
you've
watched
never played
any
it
of the
casually,
cutscenes in
yeah.
the game.
Yeah.
Because you
That's
skip them.
so. Here's
Speedrun.
another thing too, right? Is that like I've been speedrunning Devil Kings, which is like a localization of a Chinese historical game, and so all of the characters have like their historical names replaced with just like monikers. And so when I post the videos on my YouTube, people like feel the need to just like be like, oh yeah, I like so and so character, and then put their historical name in parentheses or like explain something about it to me, and I'm like, dude.
I know the game.
Who
I'm like,
asked?
I've never watched a single cutscene in this entire game. Like, I've never played it casually. I've just speedrun it. Will I play it casually eventually? Yeah, probably. But like, come on, dog. Like,
Yeah, dude, it's just
Shut
so
the
funny
fuck
because
up.
I can just like see their soul leaving their body as they talk
Yeah.
more with me and figure out that I know nothing about the game
Yeah,
outside of the
nothing.
speed tech. I know everything about the speed tech in the game. I can get you from everywhere in the game. But if you're talking about like the lore of Frights, you're talking about like references
I know
even to
the
the
lore,
show.
nah.
I'm just
Yeah.
like,
it is very interesting to sort of see like the duality of like somebody that just really enjoys playing a game and how it feels versus somebody that like has this sort of like fanatical attachment to it, right? I think that for one of the Crash games, the person that had world record in it for the longest time has never completed it casually. And I can just imagine that person like streaming and people just sitting down like to watch that stream and be like, oh, I had so much nostalgia about this game as a kid. I remember my mom buying it for me with my first PlayStation. And that person just being like,
cool.
no, I cannot relate to this like at all. I just like playing the game. Like, there's just such a disconnect. It's so funny to me.
Dude, it's
but,
my
like,
you know
favorite
what's
thing to
even-
do. I literally just say, that's
Yeah.
cool, man. I'm happy for you. And
yeah, I mean, that's all you really can do at that point,
Yeah.
right? Is just be like, I'm really glad you like the game. I'm glad you're here. You know, thanks for watching.
yeah, that's
That
literally
sort of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
That's all you
Dude,
have to do.
What hurts? Well, not what hurts, but I actually kind of find it funny is like I get like comments and stuff like their nostalgia's wrong, and I want to point it out to them, but it's like I can't do it because I'll ruin their memories and stuff. Like I get comments on my Frights video where it's like, "Oh, dude, I used to love playing this on the DS," and I'm like,
What?
"No, you fucking didn't, because that shit did not come out on the DS." You are making up shit. Your memory is wrong. Your
Cole's on
childhood
the
is
opposite end of the
nothing.
spectrum, bro.
Yeah,
He
no.
corrects people in his chat. He's like,
Yeah.
actually, motherfucker, that's not what Holly did.
Yeah, or they're like, dude, I remember like where you could play as like Velma. No, you don't. You don't.
Cannot do that. Yeah.
You see her in a cage, and she's like, "Oh my god!" And that's it.
KGKT.
GKT, and then that's it. She just runs away. So like, so I feel kind of bad. It's so weird, but it's I don't know. I don't know. Nostalgia's a hell of a thing. It's very
Speaking of like
very easy to make
nostalgia and
money
like
off of.
liking the games that you play, I was actually having this conversation
say
with
that a lot.
Cosmic through like Twitch chatter messages. If we want to kind of continue this, you guys are
Yeah,
kind
go
of out
for
of
it.
the loop, but we can bring you up to speed. Basically, I've played about like halfway through Neva, which is made by Nomada Studios, which is the same people that made Gris, which is in my top 5 games of all time.
Yeah.
So naturally, I'm excited for the game. Also, if you all go to my Bluesky, Nestani.bisky.social, the worst, by the way, that's the biggest issue with Bluesky is the .bisky.social. That shit's ass.
Yeah,
Change it
true.
immediately. we're not talking about that though. But I posted a really cool platforming clip.
It's
Game's
awesome.
lit.
Yeah.
But regardless, like he was basically asking me, are you planning on speedrunning the game? And I was like, well, if it changes my life, no. If not, maybe. Because I have this belief where I don't want to speedrun games that I like, because I feel like it ruins, especially like games that I like to replay specifically. So like if I want to replay a game, or I replay a game consistently, I don't really want to speedrun it unless the speedrun is drastically different, or there's like no base movement tech. And so what I mean by that is I'm going to use two games for an example. Frights, I'm going to use, even though I've never played the game casually, but just follow me. Frights, you can hold the R button and charge, right? And so you can chain your charges together uninterruptedly, and you can just dash, and you can move through the game really, really quickly, right? I can never play Frights casually because I will just be doing movement tech the whole time, because I just can't not do it. So like I can't really play the game casually and kind of like enjoy it, in my opinion, just because like so much of the actual gameplay is not casual gameplay. Even though, let's say I'm watching the cutscenes and doing all that stuff, for me, I'm just like, this kind of ruins the point of the casual gaming experience to me. But something like Sacred Stones, like it is so drastically different, and there's also no speed tech in the game, that it's just like, well, I mean, there is, but like, there's not movement tech
not
in
to
the
the
game.
same degree.
Yeah, like all you can do, like if you want to do speed tech, is just like enemy control glitch for fun. Like that's kind of like all you can really do, and only on like 4 maps. But you can play that game so differently.
It's not tech that happens outside of the bounds of the game. Basically, it's like basically that. Yeah,
and
tech that happens outside of the bounds.
And basically, like the speedrun for Sacred Stones, you just spam Seth and Cormac, right? You just play basically one character the whole time. But like if you actually play a Fire Emblem game, you're playing with like, basically like there's 20 to 30 characters, you choose about 10 of them to play with, so it just changes every single time. You can do different classes, there's so many, it's completely different game, right? Which is
there's
why
a
I was
randomizer for it too, so it's like
and so that's why I was fine with playing Sacred Stones, because I'm like, this is not gonna inhibit my casual playthrough. For example, like I casually played through Sacred Stones after my GDQ run, just for fun, just because I like that game. Yeah. But the basically the thing that we were talking about is that Cosmic said that I was dumb for that, and that my opinion is weird. That's not really what he said, but I'm just teeing it up. I was gonna say, I didn't.
Yeah, so I didn't say he was dumb. In my head, I thought it, but I didn't say it. So the thing is I said,
a lot of people do that to me.
I said to him, I can't say that happens to me, but I do get the sentiment, because like, I mean, especially with the games that I play, I guess in a lot of the games that I play that are action games, you're using like a quarter of the moveset usually. So when I play the games casually, I get to use like the whole thing. And I get to just do whatever I want. So let's take, for example, Devil May Cry, right? In that game, to do movement tech, there's basically nothing. You just kind of hold forward and you run through the game. Unless you're Dante and you just dash, like you just mash the dash button. But like if you wanted to do the cool stuff, like while you're playing casually, you can like, launch yourself into the air with an uppercut and then do a sword air dash and then, do a spike down into the ground, or like all this other crap, right? That's just slower, but it looks cool, and that's what you can do when you play the game casually, or like the way that you combo enemies is very different in a speed run versus versus how you would play the game just normally. So, and the other thing too is like shooters, for example, like in Resident Evil 4, if I were to ever speed run that game, it would be completely different to how I would engage with it casually, because you can stop to upgrade weapons or pick up money and all this other stuff in that game that you're just not going to bother with when you learn the speed run. So, and I also find it very fun to play a lot of those games differently, like on replays or whatever. So like if I were to play, Resident Evil 4, let's say like over again, or let's say like Devil May Cry 2, like Devil May Cry 3, you can only carry 2 weapons at a time. You could decide, well, for this playthrough, I'm only going to use like these weapons once I get them, or I'm only going to use this style. And there's only one style that's ever used in Devil May Cry 3's speedrun. So
Yeah.
Fortunately, I'm a little gifted in that way.
Yeah,
you know, of running only games like that.
Yeah, and basically, like, I would say that is more similar to like a Sick or Stone style, where like you're not just using like a fucking like javelin the whole time. You're using all these different weapons. You can fight differently, and so that's why like I think I corrected it in your chat. I don't know if I read out the message or not. I was doing other things.
I don't remember. Yeah.
But I was like mainly like platformers. Like I feel like especially platformers specifically
you did mention that,
with movement tech, it's just like I don't see how like it doesn't ruin the experience because like you get so good at it that it's just like.
I will say, unless the movement tech is the game, but that's in really rare, like Pseudo Regalia,
for example,
or Lunistis, yeah, where it's just like you just schmoove by nature of the existence of the game mechanics, right? So like Pseudo Regalia, like you just cook because every upgrade that you get just lets you cook, right? That's just how the game works.
Yeah,
you know,
which I would even argue even for like P letters that like. I know he just said the game name, but I don't care. I would argue for P letters that it does ruin the casual experience though. Like if I played P letters, I would never be able to play that game again because I would just be too good at the game. Right?
Yeah.
I would be swagging out for fun, but I don't say
I think
like swagging out for fun is more speedrun than it is casual play, in my opinion. I don't know if that's
fair.
Thing.
I think there is a point where you just get good enough at a game that like even if you're not speedrunning, let's just say you play a game enough, right? There is a point where you get good enough that you do just break it. And
that's fair. Yeah.
You know, like let's take Resident Evil, for example, like the first game. Once you learn how to juke zombies, you don't have to use ammo very much anymore. Like you don't have to be scared of certain enemies. The tension of that game is completely gone once you learn how to like manage different camera angles in that game. Like it's a totally different game at that point, and all you need to do is just move through the levels. And like that's kind of how the speedrun works, but you can learn that stuff casually, and it just like even if you don't know what speedrunning is, like you can learn to back up from enemies' attacks and then just run past them. So it turns the entire dynamic of the game on its head. And once you play through the game enough, there you go. Like you just broke the game in half.
Because the more you play a game, the better you get at it.
Exactly.
You know? And part of that initial casual experience is just getting better. You know, Dark Souls games are probably the same way, where it's like,
yeah, definitely.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah, me no like. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not kidding. I don't like those games. Those games suck. Go ahead.
Damn. Well, you know,
fair enough. Cole, what do you think?
I don't like difficult games. That's just the TLDR, from my opinion, by the way, everyone. If I'm playing a single player game, I want to just fucking play the game.
You want to be coasting.
Because I do plenty of competitive. I play Smite. I used to speedrun. Surely I'll speedrun again. I just need to find a game. Anyway, go ahead.
You do just need to find a game,
Yeah.
Well, I just think I get where everybody's coming from. I just think the exact every game that I've ever speedrun is because I like it. Dog Island, Unmasked, Fright.
That's how I
games
am for
I want
games
to run. It's like Rabbids Go Home. Like I grew up playing that, and stuff like that. I guess I just make probably. I'm looking over my shelf right now of all these games that I said I wanted to speedrun, and it's just not gonna happen. But yeah, so I've never really gotten that. I mean, I started speedrunning because I wanted to play Frights more, and I just didn't want to play through the game normally again. And then, like, I watched Mario Kart time trials a lot in high school, and I was like, well, what if there's speedrunning for Frights? And then I found Baz's Potato Can World Record, and I was like, oh, people speedrun this. And then that's how I got into it.
And they speedrun it, filming it on an iPhone too. That's what they.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like the games that I choose, especially even before I speedran, right? I would just replay games that I liked a lot anyway, just because I wanted to play them again.
Right.
Or it was like a case of, and this is definitely picked up more as I started speedrunning more, is like games that I didn't necessarily like, but I wanted to understand what made them tick more. Or I wanted to understand like what could be abused in them. Right. So what was it, for example?
What a word to use, but go ahead.
Abused.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Look, dude. What the cheese was. All right, we can use that. how do you grind the axe in these games? So,
every episode, there's like a 3-episode streak of saying that.
There's only one game that I've ever just been like, this is so bad I don't ever want to run it, which is Mind Jack, because there's nothing going on in that game,
Scooby-Doo
bro.
Night of 100 Frights.
Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights. There you go. But like, I don't know. There's just something about like games where people go like, ugh, I don't want to touch that. That was like, eh. Or like
that game gives me the ick.
That game gives me the ick. Or isn't that game really bad? Haven't people told me that that's bad?
Yeah, Super Mario 64 is just a bad game.
I think there is something.
Now you're talking my language.
Yeah. There's something just deeply uncurious to me and damning about people that like go, oh, this game sucks. I don't want to play it. Like, and just, or they'll just like write it off in the same way that other people do, without forming their own opinion on it. So like, I just want to get in there and just break it in half. So, or just find out how to play it well and find out what there is to extrapolate from it.
Like people's like game tastes are also just like super fucking shit if they only play like the shit that's presented in front of them.
You could have just stopped at the first part of that sentence.
You could have just
yeah. People are stupid and dog shit, frankly, and I'm tired of saying it.
Except you podcast listeners. We love you.
I mean, that's the thing is that, like, I mean, me and Cole have had so many conversations about this, but like people really love to just form their opinion on what other people say, and they don't actually think
their favorite YouTuber.
They just believe what they hear. They're like,
oh,
fuck,
sucks.
Cool. The Anthony Fantano heads, the fucking needle drop heads,
the melon heads
in music, the melon heads in music, for example.
Even though the best way to engage with Anthony Fantano is to like try and understand like what, like how his taste evolves over time. Or how
and like he's very clear about that too.
Yeah,
but it's like but people are fucking stupid.
Yeah, his whole thing is literally just that, like, this is just my opinion. And so, like, if you actually think about, like, what you thought about the album and how you disagree with him or agree with him, I think that's way more interesting than being like, well, Anthony Fantano said that this album is only a strong 6. So,
well, here's the thing that bugs me. This happens a lot, especially when I've heard people say that, like, Drake is their favorite artist or something, where it's just like, people don't people like things because they are popular with other people.
It's like a really weird. It's a weird statement to say, but like people like things. People like things because they're known as good, or because they are good. You know, and it's weird because like then you see people like flock to brands, right? And then they'll be like, I want more of brand, and then they will not understand why they want more of the brand. So that when more of the brand comes out and is not very good, they're like, oh, well, this thing sucks. And it's like, well, it has the Coke label on it, bro. Like, what do you want?
Apple users.
True. Yesterday's technology for tomorrow's prices. Apple computers.
It's such a bar. It's such a bar.
So good. So good. Hashtag ad. Hashtag not sponsored. So, I totally forgot my brain. Dude, the train didn't even leave the station.
The train crashed.
The train didn't even leave the station, dude, on that thought.
It's so over.
I mean, I just be saying that people don't actually want to listen to music. They just they just listen to whatever's at the top, and they don't care to actually listen to it. Yeah. Guys, if you want to break the mold, let me tell you about it. A band
you can like and subscribe to the podcast.
I
was gonna shell for King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard again.
Okay, that's fair too.
You could also do that. Yes,
that's a good band. I guess it is about that time. We could wrap up. Does anyone have anything going on?
I don't think. I have. By the time that this is airing, I will be running DMC5 Special Edition on Breaking the Habit charity on Sunday at 5:15ish p.m. Eastern Time.
The
Lincoln Park Charity Marathon. Yeah, in about 2 days from when this will be airing. I think that's really about it, honestly, for me for this week. It's kind of I'm hitting a little bit of a slow period, but
Pearly Guillotine. Let
me see what time here. Yeah. Oh, so
Wow,
Dude, the next episode is going to suck because it'll be the day that the games list drops, and Jax and I are going to be sitting here like, did we get in, bro? And we won't know until the day that the episode drops.
I'm just going to be sitting there just like tweaking in my seat the entire time because we're 4 days out.
Wait,
they're like, please.
When does the list drop?
November 1st.
November 1st, yeah.
What day is that?
So
is that
2 weeks from now.
That's a Friday.
It's a Friday.
Oh,
It is a Friday, yeah.
That sucks.
So we'll know 2 episodes from now if we actually got in. So
guys, I didn't get in.
Root for Jax and I to get in. I want Jax to get whatever game he wants to get in.
Stuart again.
I'm gonna again.
Stuart again, yeah.
Run it back.
Fuck.
Did you submit anyway? I already forget.
I submitted
Rabid, Spidey, Pumpkin.
No, I did
Spidey.
Rabbits Go no Spidey. So I did Vex, Rabbits Go Home, Pumpkin Jack. What was number 4?
Nigga doesn't even know.
No, sorry. It's long fucking day for me. Okay. Frog Monster, and then me, Osmorn, Limey, and Anarchy submitted
Group masturbation.
Quake. Yeah, we submitted Quake 100% co-op. Yeah, Quake group masturbation. That's a good way of putting it, honestly. That's how it feels sometimes.
Yeah. Pretty good.
So that was a very last minute thing, but we compiled the submission in about a week. So if it gets in, then like, I don't know, maybe GDQ has lost all credibility.
For 100% co-op, that's pretty good for busting that out, dude.
Yeah. And like an hour estimate, so
that's pretty good, yeah.
Hey,
for 100% co-op, an hour.
Hey,
cobble it together in a week.
Pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah.
Also, podcast listeners, if you want to give me speed games, you should do that.
Ooh. You should do that. Comment down below.
Apparently, my suggestions aren't good enough anymore.
They're not. Well, the thing is that like you give me a lot of speed games, but like.
Yeah,
that silence spoke way volumes.
Hey man, I went through a lot of your. I went to Strider. I played it.
Strider was so close.
That game
was so close.
Strider was really close.
Besides the mashing, like if I didn't have to mash for literally 30 minutes straight, I'm cool with some mashing. As everyone knows, I can mash for a little bit. However,
it's got to turn on turbo, bro.
The whole run is mashing, and I'm like. It's just not interesting. But the game feels good and it's fun. But
it's great. It's a great game.
And so that fell through, and then fucking Unleashed fell through, and then fucking Rodea. My hand just died playing it, and it also wasn't interesting.
However,
I tried. I also tried picking up.
You did indeed try.
I did try to pick up Vex as well. I feel like I just picked up games all in a row, and they all just kind of sucked. And now I'm just like,
Well, there is a lone hero on the horizon.
Just wasn't interested.
There's a lone hero on the horizon, and its name is Chain Dive. So
that's true. I technically haven't tried Chain Dive. Maybe I should try.
You haven't chained or dove yet.
I did learn like half the Vex run though. Like maybe I should go back to that. But I don't know. I just feel like Vex just doesn't fit my style. Like I could play it.
Interesting.
It feels like something I could play, but I don't really like the. I feel like it's just like verticality, and I feel like I'm just like hitting buttons. I feel like I'm fucking playing Devil May Cry, like with Cosmic, where he's like hit this button, this button, this button, this button, this button, and this combination. I said, and then it did it, and I feel like I'm not the one doing it, and it's like I'm just hitting the buttons and it's happening. If that makes sense. The reason I like Scooby and like Lunistis is because I'm doing everything. I am the character. I can feel everything I'm doing.
I am the one who jumps.
Yeah. I'm a feels based gamer, but anyway, I might pick up Super Mario 64 everyone.
No, stop it.
Cole, do you have a video coming out this week?
It dropped.
It did drop.
Yep. So do you have another one dropping this week?
No. 0% chance.
Jesus.
Dude, we had like 2 different days of grinding thumbnails for this. Like,
ooh.
Yeah. Bro's been putting in the effort.
That is the effort.
But people like it. It's fun. I tried beating the game with the dance pad, Scooby-Doo Never Frights. Go check it out. So
cool. Sick stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and like and subscribe, please. We need to get this channel monetized, please, dear God.
We're a ways off.
We're a ways off. Actually, honestly, just share it to someone else. That's honestly give some guerrilla marketing. Just you probably know another speedrunner.
Gorillas. I like gorillas.
Send them our podcast and be like, they talk about speedrunning a lot. and then you should tell them that Nestani specifically talks about speedrunning a lot, and he's really cool.
Mhm.
I agree.
Something,
yes.
one of those things.
All right, bye.
Bye. Goodbye forever.